Yeah, we're hoping to do, touch wood, barring droughts and floods and things, we're hoping to do probably 30,000 extra milk solids with no change in cow numbers, no change in land area. We've just had a lift in payout, so that's $9.50 plus a potential dividend of around potentially 50 cents, so you could say $10 a milk solid, so you're talking $300,000 extra. So my name is Tyrone O'Leary. The farm is 79 hectares and I've been farming here for just on 30 years. We're milking currently approximately 250 cows, mainly Friesian cows, and we have been in the barn since March of this year. We've been using this barn. We were getting up to, like I said, 560, 570, even a little bit over that per cow, but we were slightly less cow numbers, and we were using a concrete-based feed pad, and then we moved to putting mats on the feed pad, and then we've moved to this sawdust barn. We use it a couple of ways. We use it for wintering cows, and we also use it every day for feeding milking cows, and we also calve cows in the barn. No, it's not pushed to the max, but we find it works well. We do have to compost it. At the moment, we only do it every Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Every week is what we do. We haven't had any other issues with it. The composting side seems to work pretty well. As long as we keep using the composter over it, that 3 times a week, that seems to work. Even in winter, that's all we pretty much do, is 3 times a week in winter. Yeah, we did. Our wintering process was some cows were wintered off grazing on grass on a neighbouring property, and now we use the barn basically, as well as some wintering off, but we can use the barn, and we've got control that we could actually use the barn fully if we wanted to. Yeah, well, we've got quite a wet farm and we've got drains around every paddock, so we always had issue with calves and drains and things like that. Now the cows calve under the roof and they're warm and dry, and they're close to the calf shed, so it's very easy to pick up calves. It's easy to even look at the cows and check on them as opposed before they're out in the weather. We have found that it's improved. With the wintering in the barn, the cow condition has improved. If you can feed them properly, they'll put the condition on. The only thing we find probably is they put too much condition on in some cases, and you have to monitor that a little bit. Well, look, we had probably 2 or 3 motivators really. One was to get the cows milking to their full potential. The other one was the environmental side of things, but the biggie was to mitigate that adverse weather, wet weather and extremely hot weather, and avoid pasture damage and bogging. And yeah, when we get adverse weather, we can just put them in the barn, feed them, and we don't have to worry about paddocks being ruined or bogged up or damaged. And so we are finding we're actually probably growing more grass as well. Well, I had a good look around, as you do, at all the articles and things around, and also looked on the internet and things. And so it wasn't a quick process by any means. It took some time to look at other options, and this option suited my sort of farming and system. So we did look at other barns, and we looked at other shelters and things. Like I said, we did have a feed pad system, but this is way better as far as we're concerned. We were looking for something that's going to last and is solid and strong. We do get reasonably high wind here at times, but it was just the strength of the building, and it'll last way longer. We do have a calf shelter, and we've had to replace the roof on that, and that's it's a smaller system, but it's just for calves. And we just thought, oh, we don't want to be replacing roofs on a big system like this. But it goes to what you're trying to achieve. If you're sick of bad weather, adverse weather, and you don't have any other systems. But I found it, we haven't done anything sort of like it. You can see what's left behind. That's after 3 or 4 days of feeding. There's thistles and things in that. But we have found the savings and utilisation of feed is what you do notice. We had a feed pad system, so we weren't feeding it outside. We've sort of come through that whole process of feeding it outside to a feed pad system, to this system. So yeah, there is a utilisation. There's way better utilisation of feed, so there is savings there, but that varies. Yeah, depends where you are. We're lucky in that our cows don't have to get on a truck to go out grazing. We can just walk them to our grazier. So there's an added cost if you have to truck them, $25 to $30 a week. Well, like I said, we were in here in March, and we were getting quite We got a number of 30-degree days even here, and the cows they love it. They come in, they're waiting at the gate to come in, to leave the paddock and come into the barn. Well, the cows do produce more. We find they're not panting, they're not under stress, they're content. And we find actually when we take them out of the barn in the afternoon to milk, they're actually they're even more content in the cow shed. We've had a very good spring. It has been a good spring locally anyway, but we're having a very good spring at the moment. Production is up and we've had obviously more feed and less problems as you do. We are well above the district average on production per day and for the season. We're about 20% per day ahead of, that's our own production on last year. We're 20% ahead per day on that, and I think we'll be 14% on our total season to date, so currently trending. Yeah, we're hoping to do, touch wood, barring droughts and floods and things, we're hoping to do probably 30,000 extra milk solids with no change in cow numbers, no change in land area. We've just had a lift in payout, so that's $9.50 plus a potential dividend of around potentially 50 cents, so you could say $10 a milk solid, so you're talking $300,000 extra. It is a big investment, but that's probably, well, wouldn't be a third of the cost of this. It would be probably more like, well, under a quarter sort of thing, what we built this for, from a green site. Well, in my opinion, it works for our system, and it works, we're happy with it. The way it saves you in adverse weather, and there's also some definite production gains in feeding the cows better and utilisation. It does make life easier, we've found. It's just, you don't worry about adverse weather where it's pouring with rain at night and you've got cows calving out in the weather. It's easier on man and beast. There is, and we also, from reports, we haven't done anything ourselves and that, with just what material we've read and what we've sort of been told, is that, yeah, it does. It lowers our emissions, and that's something that we see is probably going to affect us more and more as time goes on. It was through our bank as we did most of it, and because we're able to spread the build a little bit, we're able to do, so we did some of it through bank and some of it just through our own financing. No, look, for us it was a pretty easy build. We found the guys were easy to call and ask if they wanted any information, and there's also a lot of information is given to you. So no, we found the build easy. We didn't have any issues with this build. It went to plan. I mean, the consenting was the big thing, and Aztech took care of that. So that took a lot of hassle out of it, and so that made it easy in a way.